Hey guys, today we're going to teach you how to set up your Adalm Pluto SDR on a Windows-based computer, as well as update the firmware so we can begin having fun with this amazing software-defined platform. My name's Corrosive. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Signals Everywhere. Thanks for sticking around, guys. We're going to go ahead and set up the Pluto SDR within Windows. The driver installation is pretty straightforward. I'll put a link in the description below showing you exactly how to do that. What we're focusing on is actually getting the firmware updated on the Pluto so we can begin using it. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in, and you'll see I'll place the video somewhere on the screen of our Pluto starting up. We're going to have our USB port plugged into the USB icon. There's also another one for external power, but we really don't need that in this instance. So just make sure you're plugged into the one with the USB icon. And you'll see in Windows here, we have a little pop-up. The Pluto SDR has been discovered. So we're going to open it up, and you'll see there's actually some mass storage on here. So we're going to open up this info HTML file. And this gives you kind of a welcome to the Adalm Pluto Active Learning Module page. And what we need to do in this instance is move over to Firmware. And you'll see, hey, there's a new version of firmware available. So let's go ahead and click on Check Latest Version. And we're just going to go ahead and hit Save. You'll notice I've saved this a number of times, but we're going to go ahead and let the firmware download. And once it's downloaded, we need to open it up. It's going to be a zip file. Nothing you really need to worry about in Windows. All the new versions will support these files. And you're going to see we have a bunch of files in here. We have the firmware files and the DFU files. There's really only one we need to concern ourselves with when it comes to updating the Pluto. So I'm going to open up the Pluto SDR screen here. We're going to take Pluto.frm, this is the updated firmware, and we're just going to drop it into the root directory of the Adalm Pluto. Now that I've done that, I'm going to close the screen for the zip file, and in the bottom right corner here on Windows, we need to click on this little Show Hidden Icons, and you'll see we have an icon here. Let's see, where is it? This little USB device. This is your Safely Remove Hardware icon. We need to right-click on it, and you need to come down to the Eject Adalm Pluto, and beneath that is the Eject Pluto SDR. So before I click that, it is very, very important that you eject it in this manner. So that way it is triggered to the SDR to go ahead and update that firmware and to prevent potential corruption of your software-defined radio. So as soon as I press the Eject Pluto, you're going to see the blue LED light here is going to start flashing rapidly. So now that we have this rapid flashing, that's telling us that the Pluto SDR is now updating its firmware. And it could do this anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes. So just let it do its thing, make sure it finishes, because if you interrupt this process, you could end up with a bricked device. And while it may be possible to recover that, something we might do in another video, you don't want to go down that road if you don't have to. So let it do its thing. I'm going to hop out of here and I'm going to come back once it's finished, and we'll move on to the next step of verifying that it has been updated successfully. All right, and you see that the LED light has stopped flashing rapidly. You may have heard the USB connection sound, and you'll see it's actually reinstalling the some of the drivers for the Pluto SDR. And you'll know that it's up and running again because you'll see this autoplay window once again. And you can open the folder to view files. And if we just open up this info file again and click on Firmware, Update Firmware, you'll notice that it says Pluto is using the same version as the latest release. And there you have it. The Pluto SDR is now updated with the latest version of the firmware, and it really wasn't all that difficult. Now, before I end the video here, I want to make a quick note on the Windows drivers for this device. If you're not able to get this far and you're having drivers issues, open up Device Manager, and just look in here. You want to make sure you have the Pluto SDR Ethernet adapter. Under COM ports, you're going to have a Pluto SDR console. Under portable devices, you'll have the Pluto SDR. It's important to make sure those drivers installed properly for that autoplay window to open. Something that I needed to do was actually use a different USB port on my computer. So if you do have those problems, make sure your driver's installed properly and try a different USB port. Assuming you get that autoplay window, you should be good to go ahead and install the new updated firmware. So with that... Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you found that amazingly useful. Links to everything will be in the description below. Please leave me a like and a comment on what you thought of the video and future content. If you've noticed, we now have Signals Everywhere t-shirts. And if you're interested in supporting the channel by buying one, you'll find a link to our Teespring shop down in the description below as well.